Baruch. Good morning. Hopefully over this morning and tomorrow morning we're going to discuss a very important halacha which pertains very specifically to this week's upcoming Hajj, Izrat Hashem. And this is the halacha of Eruv Tavshilin. Now let me explain why we even need to do an Eruv Tavshilin. There's a concept that we're not allowed to prepare from a higher level of sanctity from a lower level of sanctity to a higher level of sanctity, and vice versa. The truth is, you're not allowed to prepare from Shabbat to Yom Tov, as well as you're not allowed to prepare from Yom Tov to Shabbat. Obviously, preparing from a Yom Chol, a regular weekday, or even Chol HaMoed, which its whole institution was in order to prepare for the next Yom Tov, is allowed. But to prepare from Shabbat to Yom Tov, or from Yom Tov to Shabbat, as we know Shabbat is a greater level of Kiddusha, either way is prohibited to prepare. However, Chachamim knew that in a situation as this coming week, when we're going to have, starting Wednesday night to Rosh Hashanah, all day Thursday, all day Friday, going straight into Shabbat, 3 days, would be very hard to have food that's fresh and ready for the Chag. Again, this is way before refrigeration, which has only been popular in the past maybe even 100 years, maybe, okay? And therefore, Chachamim gave us a seemingly appearing loophole that works with the halacha hand in hand. And this is that we prepare already from before the Chag starts, before Rosh Hashanah starts, food, which our intention is to eat it on Shabbat. However, since we already prepared and started preparing from before Shabbat, we're allowed to continue preparing on the Yom Tov itself for Shabbat. And I'll give you just a practical example. Before Shabbat, customarily, we take a challah, which should be at least the amount of a kabetza, which is almost 60 grams of bread, as well as a cooked dish. It could be meat, it could be fish. Traditionally, eggs were always used because eggs could last well even without refrigeration for 2 days. So therefore, a person should take eggs. I'm saying eggs, we should not take one. I'll tell you why. Because if by mistake the eruv is eaten, we get into a small complication. So therefore, take a couple eggs, hard boil them, take a roll of bread, and then that is going to be your eruv. That is going to be your preparation for the onset of Shabbat, that you're able to cook on Friday for Shabbat, not on Thursday. We're not allowed to cook on Thursday for Shabbat. We're allowed to cook on Friday for Shabbat, again, because we already started cooking from before the Yom Tov. What is done is the bread is taken with the bowl of eggs that you've hard boiled, and the bracha, as it said properly in the Sidur, is recited al mitzvat eruv, and then there's a small Aramaic line saying that this is the eruv that I'm going to be able to cook with when it comes to the Shabbat. There's more intricacies. We'll just mention one more. If a person forgot to do an eruv tavshilin, then if it was by mistake, they're allowed to be somech on the Rav Ha'ir, who has done it in order for them to do it. Now this is very important. One could not intentionally say, I don't need to do the Eruv Tavshilin because anyways Rabbi Laredo's doing it. No, you can't do that. You have to do it yourself. You can do it, your wife can do it, doesn't matter who does it. One person per household, even if you're a guest at someone's house. Hopefully we have electricity, everyone before then, so we don't have to be a guest at someone's house. But B'ezrat Hashem, every household does one Eruv Tavshilin. Now that Eruv, traditionally, is eaten for Seudah Shlishit. If you will be at the Bet Knesset for Seudah Shlishit, you can very well eat it for the second meal. However, to eat it on Shabbat is the proper fulfillment. We'll speak tomorrow about making a bracha, not making a bracha, if you don't have intention to cook or not. We'll speak about that tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem. Tonight, Mincha Arvit.